drugs in my boot.
You know, I am of the opinion that Tiffany Haddish should hush. You know, one thing that really annoys me is when people who are single with no kids have a really strong opinion about people who are not single and people who do have children. And the reason why I point this out is because Tiffany Haddish went on Godfrey's podcast and had this to say about women who have more than one or more than two baby daddies.
Women, and here's my theory, and I could be completely wrong, and the internet probably gonna destroy me for this, but I think women that have more than two baby daddies usually have some sort of mental illness.
Okay, and the reason why I bring up the fact that, you know, she has no kids and Godfrey have no kids is because they have no kids. And I have to say, as a person who hasn't had kids until like my 30s, it's really easy for us to look at people who do have kids and judge their situation harshly. But now that I do have kids, I'm learning that people who don't have kids should really hush. Because the changes you go through as a parent, it cannot be explained. And there are some people who, granted, they have one baby mama, two baby mamas, three baby mamas. Same with the women having multiple baby daddies. That's all well and good, you know, but just because a person is on the outside looking in doesn't mean they have the answers. I have to say, before having kids, there was a time where I thought I knew everything, but you know why I never ran off with what I thought? Is because I didn't have kids. And one thing that I learned from babysitting, it's one thing if you're close to a kid or if you're looking out for a kid, but the minute that you get tired of that kid, they can go home. You can call somebody to come and get that child. It's very, very different when you don't have children. And for her to speak on people who do have children, I think it's really ignorant, considering the fact that she has a drinking problem. Like, no, seriously, she has a legal drinking problem. And I'm not trying to just throw mud on her for her saying this. I'm just saying she's got bigger issues than sitting here coming up with some theory on what's wrong with women who have two baby daddies.
Really? Yeah, because you're getting genetically modified too much. I think, okay, so this is what I know. Every time you get pregnant, right, there's stem cells that come from that baby. And that's them stem cells end up behind your eyes and your brain and your heart and your lungs and stuff and help your organs heal while the baby taken from you. And those stem cells will always stay with you, right? So that means that man is always in you. And that is why, the Bible says you will only desire your husband.
You know what I realize about really, really stupid people? When they're being really, really stupid, they use the Bible to justify what they say.
Correct? This is why you gotta use condoms.
Told you, she's stupid.
Because that baby better get up inside you, and the uterus is very porous, much like the mouth, right? So when anything goes up in there, it automatically, the uterus starts to absorb it. It starts going through the vaginal walls and all that, and the blood, it gets into the bloodstream, right? And so, so it takes
get in there.
So it takes like 6 weeks to get a man out of your system if you have unprotected sex, and it's because he's starting to bind to your DNA, right? And that's why it's couples, when they be together too long, they start looking alike.
Straight time. I think Godfrey and all his friends are stupid incels. Just lapping up everything this woman says. Ugh, it's disgusting.
You start looking like him. Wow. Like, it's not, the guy don't start looking like her. She start looking like him because he is genetically modifying her. And every time you get pregnant by him.
You know something interesting I realized about this?
You start to get modified, right? So if you get pregnant by multiple peoples, right, that's multiple spirits, multiple thoughts, multiple modifications from a different DNA strand to have mental stress. So, and even it's very evident, like what I'm saying is very evident. It makes sense.
When people know they have a problem,
because like you got all these dating apps, all these women like free sex, free this, whatever, I'm doing, but I'm living it, I'm exerting my sexuality and all this, and I don't care if I got 5 kids or 5 baby daddies, whatever. Usually those bitches are mentally, they're struggling in so many different ways, not just financially, but also just like on where to focus. Condoms, ladies, that's why you have to use condoms. We cannot genetically modify men. Now,
they much rather point out the flaws of someone else instead of focusing on themselves. Now, we all know Tiffany Haddish loves the sauce. I have a theory. Since we're throwing theories around about baby mamas and baby daddies with no kids, let me just speak as a person who used to drink a lot in my younger days. I'm not an alcoholic. However, I will say, as a person who loved drinking when I was in my 20s, I think that not drinking so much should be something that she should be thinking about. That's something that's in her control, and that's something that's definitely in her court. And I'm not gonna lie, I have my own theories about like baby mamas and baby daddies. My channel is basically promoting the family unit. I am not for people having a bunch of different kids with a bunch of different people. I'm not even for people having children out of wedlock. I have my 2 kids right now as I'm shooting this video, and with a very good husband and supportive father, I still be going through it. And let me also say this too. I will level with 2 things with Tiffany Haddish. Number 1, shout out to the foster care system. I was one of those kids. Number 2, I have to say, women who do have more than 2 baby daddies, that is a problem. Now let me speak as a woman who do have children. The grammar police in me just cannot cut this out for some reason. Let me say this as a woman who does have children. This is the face of a woman who finally corrected her grammar and is reflecting on how proud she is. That's better than what I did before. I had to cut those grammatical errors out of there. Can't be doing that. I'm educated. I don't think that a woman having more than 2 baby daddies makes her mentally ill. On a more serious note, I think there are women out here who choose the wrong men. And, first time, a lot of people make a mistake. A lot of people are having fun and they get caught up. It happens. The second guy, I'm not going to lie, after having kids, there is kind of a fire under your butt to take care of these kids. Like, their needs are like non-stop. It's consistent, right? So I will say there's this appeal. Trying to watch jazz while I'm doing this. When it comes to a man who's like, yeah, I'll take care of you and those kids. Because raising kids is hard. Now, I was blessed enough to be married to my husband before we had children. So that's really, really cool. That's my situation. I feel like I really hit the jackpot. I got lucky. A lot of times women, they try with the second guy and they have better luck. But let's just be real. There are a lot of guys who jump into relationships with women and those women have kids and they don't know what they're getting into until they're in it. That being said, I think the circumstances make the woman crazy rather than, this whole crazy theory of, the genetics mixing all. Look, we got to stop doing this. We gotta stop glorifying alcoholics and drug addicts, especially in the black community. Okay, she sounds smart, but that lady got a drinking problem. Leave her alone. She got her own issues. Anyway, I had to get that out of my spirit. But yeah, I will say this too. One of the reasons why I say Tiffany Haddish doesn't know what she's talking about, notice how she says, use condoms, use condoms. It's not all the juices mixing that make the situation bad for the woman. It's the fact that women are opening up to all these different guys and staying open and being left raw. Yes, men are affected too when relationships don't work out. But for the woman, oftentimes, we end up living with the mistake, aka having the baby, raising the child on our own, things like that. And let's say even if a woman doesn't get pregnant, the fact that a guy has penetrated you and he has moved on, that feels gross. So for her to just go, oh, use condoms, not a solution. Like, Tiffany Haddish needs to be quiet.